All right, cyber traders, we are back this Tuesday. Let's say Wednesday. Jesus. I should say St. Patty's Day, might I say, right? Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting this Wednesday, March 17th, post-Fed meeting day, of course. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everybody here can hear me loud and clear. As you can see right after 2 o'clock on the Dow chart right below the main screen on AMC there, you can see the markets ended up making a big spike up. Moved up a little bit more. Well, actually failed to break higher, I should say. Bounced and ended up pulling back down right now. AMC ended up just making a big shake now, as you can see there too. We've been calling out AMC at least from the morning. I just had this up going into the meeting. Nothing really special about it. Great to see all of us, though. Ken, Tim, Kath, Jeff. I love how Jeff always calls me Josh, but he has the S with the dollar sign in there. That's pretty creative. I like to see that. Phil, Norman, Mike as well. Mike did pretty well just on a couple of trades before. I think Ken being one of them. We'll jump to that in just a moment. Ken asking about the gong sound effect right here inside our trading room. Ken, it's been a while since you've been a part of CTU, or at least maybe not too long, but probably you'd left before we ended up changing the software. That's the thing. So sooner rather than later, I should get a nice sound effect just like I had back then. But nonetheless, it's not about that. It's about the list here for this afternoon. We have class ahead also, so I want to jump right to it. We have the phase 1 course finishing up today, folks. Phase 1 lesson 4. We'll introduce and talk all about level 3, the ECN book, just for everybody here, social media folks, Facebook Live, YouTube, and alongside them, all of us here in the room, just so all of us know, level 3, I'm referring to the right-hand side of my screen here, that being the TradeStation matrix on my platform. We'll talk about this in full in class, but if your broker platform does not offer like a level 3 incorporated with it, and TradeStation doesn't even call this level 3, by the way, that's like our nickname for it. It's the same exact program, though, is what you would want to have. NASDAQ Total View, otherwise, that would be the necessary program to have. Just because this is built into my platform, it's just a little bit easier. That's the sole reason why I don't show Book Viewer. If I didn't have this extra bell and whistle, then I'd absolutely need it. We'll talk about that, though, in full coming up just in a moment, just at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So let's go right from top to bottom here, folks. I mean, hey, AMC was just pretty slow. I wasn't really going to put this on our list anyway. It's only up 1%, but it was squeezing up at first, but dumped back down perhaps with the market. We'll talk about the Fed decision also in just a moment here too, but let's just start from top to bottom. The TKAT trade really quickly. Thank God I refilled up my water bottle before this meeting started. It's been a lot of talking today at least, but the TKAT trade, I was out and away from my desk for like 30 minutes. I ended up seeing this make a huge run out of nowhere, or at least Rich did. I came back to it much later on. I don't know what the news is on this. Rich is saying it's crypto related with the new art or like NFT type stuff, non-fungible token. We're not going to go into that here. It's just to say this stock ended up making a hell of a squeeze up from 6, ended up getting halted. I mean, I could just check at least to see once, probably more. But, as we zoom in on the 1-minute chart, you'll see the gaps here on the chart. Once, twice, 3 times. Not on the way down. Did this get halted on the way down earlier? No, even on the way up that time. So, thankfully, this stock has yet to be halted on the way down. We typically say when a stock gets halted on the way down, that's usually like game over. That's it. It ended up making a really strong bounce off that bottom off 14. So it goes to show clearly how strong that 14 is. 2-point pop. Now the thing is on this trade, and if you've been following this meeting on social media, frequently, you should know, that order book, that level 3, so to say, it's like nothing on there. It's definitely a level 5 stock looking at this TKAT trade. It looks like even just back from Monday, this ended up making a hell of a move. I don't think that we even really called it out back on Monday. If we did, it was probably in class at 3 o'clock and I missed it. But nonetheless, just to see a stock not only go from, $6 today all the way to damn near 18, but back from Monday, this exploded from 4 to 9. How much higher can this thing keep going? So whatever the news is, it must be good. And I'm sure it's one of those low float stocks on top that, retailers ended up squeezing up way more than they probably should have. And it's actually still kind of near the highs. So I'll put this on our list, but this is really more of a gamble so far than like an educated decision. So, take it at your own risk. We're not here necessarily to gamble. We talked about that actually in our class just from, or actually rather from Traders Talk yesterday inside our room. I'm actually making a nice little weekend trip to Atlantic City this weekend. I'm there to gamble, right? I'm not here to gamble. So, given this trade, how illiquid I'll call the order book, just how spaced out the orders are in the bid and the ask, you got to be really careful on this trade. I would rather sit on my hands first and have there be more evidence on the chart and on the order book, or rather the tape, and see what happens from there. You can see it's kind of holding off like even 1650 and pulling back down. So, I would assume that 1650, there's got to be a lot of buying that came in off that 2 o'clock pop. So if it could re-break above that price, perhaps we could see it make a cleaner move. But again, that's just a loose thought. So I'll put this on our list, our watch list, so to say. If you're not trading it, worthwhile to watch at least, just see how it does, study it. All right, so I think there's a few of those stocks, right? I got a text from Rich earlier, just when I was out. He was talking about these stocks, TKAT. I think one of them was OCG, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what he said. Yeah, OCG via YVR. He didn't say the IMTE trade, but this one was moving by the time I came back. So, I don't know what the news is on this. Normally, I would have the time to check and just take a look for you folks, but we have class coming up pretty shortly from now. This one at least has more volume on the order book than that other, TKAT trade. Still a bit of a spread here and there. I would assume resistance to be off the 8 level. Looks like it ended up holding pretty nicely off 750 earlier as resistance, not as well as support just earlier, but starting to move off the level now. Again, I'll put this on our watch list. It's making more of a move for the afternoon thus far, so I'll respect that and see if this can make like a better, stronger pop for us later on. All right, so OCG, one of us here on YouTube, unfortunately, saying it just ruined their afternoon. Ended up making a huge pop from earlier. It didn't ruin my afternoon, but I'll say it ruined my opportunity to make money just by being away from my desk and missing trades like this in the TKAT. So I missed this completely. Ended up popping seemingly from like 6:25-ish, looks like. Broke out right away from there. We're talking about like 11 o'clock Eastern time as it broke out from like that 6:25, but ended up making a nice squeeze up, ended up breaking higher and higher over time, got halted on the way up right over 950. And then off the reopen, see, that's the part on this trade. So, you know what? Actually, I'll take a quick look. I do have the time to do this pretty quick. It's the same list. I'm just showing the float. It's funny. OCG has the biggest float of those 3 that we've covered so far. I mean, you could just see the TKAT trade and the IMTE stock. I mean, both super low float. 14.3 mil is pretty short as well for OCG. But, I mean, it's that same type of stock generally, right? Low float, normally low volume traded day over day. Hey, it can make a pop. And if it does, and if it works off a nice trend, it makes it that much easier. But I wrote this as soon as I came back into the trading room. It was just a general comment that I could just, drop. I want to actually scroll up on the chat board, see if I can get it quick. Give me a quick sec. So, I came back and I was referring to a TKAT on this, but I just said, I wrote back in our room, I said at 1:26 Eastern, I said, what a run on TKAT right away. I said, or one of our students, John, wrote, he said, I think that's about to end though, Josh. And, pretty much I agreed. I said, the more it goes up, the more likely it is that it will drop. I mean, that's a pretty logical comment to make, right? It's like one of those like no-brainers. Like the more it goes up, well, it's not going to go up to infinity, right? For as much as it steadily goes up, it's going to make a false breakout and dump right back down, or maybe not make a false breakout, just perfectly hold underneath the resistance and then just drop. This seemingly it ended up making a big pop off the halt and then just came back down right away from there. So, you got to watch the volume bars on a trade like this, the TKAT, the IMTE, whatever else we'll go through here. This one, I mean, for me, honestly, I mean, history repeats itself. So, just with the ZCMD trade, I don't know what the float is. I hit it once again. I'll just take a look really quick. 12.19 million. So again, pretty low, not the lowest that we've seen, but pretty low. Just look at the daily chart. It speaks for itself. If you're a day trader, you know what this means. So nonetheless, it's no surprise to see this where it's at right now. That's all. YVR. So one of those other stocks, I guess the NFT stock, I guess we'll call it. I got to look more into that myself, but obviously a hell of a move from like 240, 250 all the way to like pretty much 4. Pulled back. I feel like this could make a second win type of move, not to necessarily break a new high, but this one definitely has the most liquidity on the book compared to the others. So in that sense, I love it. So I'll put this easily on our list, the YVR. All right. Nice continued move here on the CLPS trade clips. I came back, and this was one of my first call outs right away. Got this from Benzinga Pro, just the signals page there to make a new high. So, I mean, hey, making a newer high now. Look at this trade also on the daily chart. Just again, speaks for itself. Ended up making like a monster gap up and running pre-market back in mid-Feb. That day it ended up just dying off right away after. Ended up closing at its low. Filled the gap, or not filled the gap necessarily. I mean, well, not right away, but over time definitely did. So, yeah, I mean, given the range on this trade, just to see a stock make a pre-market move or whatever after-hours move, whenever it was here, this gap. But, to see that type of run-up, dump back down, I mean, this is not surprising to see, but you don't want to hold your breath waiting for that type of move, because you'd be waiting a long time here after this jump up. But, yeah, for right now, just given this move in the afternoon, I'll add this to our list. Clips trade. I remember on YouTube that just said that it ruined their day. I just saw their comments again. They missed their sell order, but then it crashed like 30 cents after. It sucks. I mean, honestly, there's just no other way to put it. That happens to me every now and then. That's why we'll talk about this more for our students inside our live trading room at least, but we got to consider other factors. Range of the day, the volume traded per minute. Nice spike back up on the Dow, might I say, here too. Wow. Going into the 3 o'clock hour here coming up. Nice bounce. Which leads me to TNXP. I heard this from my headset like right as I started this meeting, and I was like wondering like which one was it, and I kept my eye on it since. I'm currently in the TNXP trade right now. I got filled right at 2:38 Eastern time. I'm in from 151 right now. So not to say the stock was moving with the market, but with the spike up, I was just looking back. I saw this coming up next. Saw the price. I knew I was in good shape anyway. But yeah, for right now, the TNXP trade, I forgot what the news was on this trade, but this was like one of maybe, well, now I guess 2. But from the morning, this was maybe one of 3 trades that I took before I even left for a bit. I mean, I barely traded today with the Fed meeting ahead. So I ended up getting it on this trade right off 135 as my entry price. I ended up squeezing it up to 150, popped up a little bit more after. And for right now, I mean, this still looks in good shape. It's back over 150. We had a lot of buying it off the level from there, at least from the afternoon. So that's why I'm currently in. That's why I set up the order. Have my stop set underneath me, at least for right now, at 147. So we'll see where it goes. I like this as a level 1 stock, as a nice slow mover. I'm not expecting a whole lot cent per share wise. Perhaps for all of us live inside the phase 1 class coming up, I'll be in this trade. We'll see where it takes me. ZKIN really quickly. I just saw this name, and I guess I skipped over it just before, but this is a blockchain affiliated stock. I remember there was a company, or if not blockchain necessarily, they're Bitcoin related. So it ended up making a move back in February, a pop and drop, and another one of those that you don't want to hold your breath for. But at least given this move up going into like literally right now, and then from earlier today, it ended up making a pretty sharp run up before it dumped off. But yeah, this thing's storming back up to 9 right now as we speak. So you could see there was some volume filled off 9 on the TradeStation matrix on the ask earlier. So that would be a pretty strong level at first, I'd imagine. All right. I don't know if you folks can hear that. You probably can't. I hope that you can't. But I actually live like right around the corner from, I guess, this like lumber company. And every now and then, probably right around this time, if not maybe a little bit before I start this meeting, all of a sudden I'll just hear this chainsaw start, and they just start going this whole time. And I was wondering what was making that noise just a moment ago. I looked back and yep, they're just hacking away. So class should be pretty interesting later for all of us live inside the trading room. That'll be fun. Hopefully they finish up soon. That won't distract me. But yeah, XNet here. Nice pop heading into the afternoon, breaking out over 850 or just before it did. Any iceberg orders on the ask here? Not much. At least not yet. All right. Hey, this one looks incredible. This XNet trade. I thought that they were earnings based. I didn't. I could have sworn that they had earnings going into today, if not from yesterday. All right, cool. I don't want to make too big of a list, but honestly, like I said it before, like this should be a pretty good afternoon. So let's see where we go here. We got the Vuzi stock, AESE, and esports company. Ooh, this one's popping pretty well here. All right, so Vuzi's been a stock almost, it's like not to say daily, but definitely weekly at this point since like the beginning of this year or even from mid December. And you know, one of our students, Jerry, was trading this back when it was like a $4, $5, $6 stock back then. You know, big volume pop that day, and you know, it ended up dying off for a little bit, but since man, this thing has been up and down, a nice long, a nice short. Obviously, you know, today breaking out pretty nicely here. So, oh, actually, right now you can see him popping in and out at 2140. There's like an 11,000 share order on the ask. This might be one of those days where we get like a classic Josh, like 15 stock watch list. Let's see. I don't know what these guys are doing behind me right now, and you definitely can't feel this, but it feels like there's an earthquake right now in my home office right now. So they got to be doing something big. All right. Geez, my platform's slowing down here too. I don't know what's going on. TRVG, familiar name. It's not doing much. Let's hop over to losers list. We'll finish this up pretty quickly, folks. Like we had said before, we're finishing up the phase 1 stock course coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern. Guess what goes up comes back down. The Ruby trade for as well as this stock had popped back from Monday yesterday. This thing's dying off now. I mean, hey, listen, it's pretty illiquid on the order book, but nice short heading into the afternoon. And based on how much it had popped from Monday, there still could be some more room on the way down. So, you know what? It's probably more of a level 4, level 5 stock, but I don't mind throwing this on here. Shortable, not too expensive. Broke below 25 just before. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of stocks. Normally, my line is there's a bunch of stuff that's like shortable at the top of the losers list. NRG is a familiar name to a degree here. Trading twice the volume as Ruby right now. Trade Station. You better not be having an issue right before my class now here. NRG at the low of the day, right? I mean, good spread. Again, not too expensive. You know, it seems like it's also at support from the daily chart. You can see dating back to late Feb, ended up bouncing right around 35.82. Getting close to there right now. 35.73, the low back from January here. Looks like it broke out roughly around there too. So I would say 35.75, 35.82 could be a nice support level on this trade. I shouldn't have done it. I told us in the room I wasn't going to do it, especially with my platform just slowing down before. I got to get away from this thing. Plug is just a beast today, trading 101 million shares. It froze me up just before when I came back, so that's why I say that. I told us. I was like, I probably is just going to skip over this during the meeting. All right. Kodak shortable. Get a load of that. Wow. Who would have thought from Trade Station, at least, Kodak shortable right now. It's doing next to nothing, but I just wanted to look at it pretty quick. All right. Running good on water right now. Let's see Momo pretty quick. And folks, if there's anything else that you see at this point that's up or down, left, right, 10% or more, type it in the chat board. Let me know. Bonnie saying the OCG making a big pop right now behind our backs. Yeah, it is. Or at least getting back up there, right? I kind of brushed OCG off. It was one of those I said I want to check back in with just before at the end here. But Yeah, nice pop. This one definitely has, not as big of a spread, more volume on the book compared to the TKAT, compared to the IMTE from just before too. That one also getting a squeeze Bonnie as well. So they all seem to be moving somewhat in tandem. I don't know the affiliation between them all, if they're all the NFT stocks or whatever. But anyway, just getting back to that, I'd say like OCG is pretty good based on the liquidity. That YVR I want to jump back to. That one definitely I liked. That was cheap, pretty good, spread, filled in order book. So those two I probably like the most out of all of them. Did I look at IPDN? That's a known pop and drop stock latest, so I will take a look at it late to the party. Wouldn't shock me if we are not too late and we can get a pullback perhaps. Yeah, squeezing up a bit. It's up 14% at the highs right now, so I'll respect that and put that on our list. When I say respect that, folks, keep in mind, like, it's a great call from Leda. What I mean by that is we, me, her, Bonnie, David, Ken, doesn't matter. We don't control this stock here. We don't control any stock that we call out. So this is a great call out, and we'll respect the call out and the move up here. Let's hope, at least from this point, that this provides for a much better opportunity, or at least a continued move heading into this next hour. That's all. The same to be said with every stock on our list. OCG, Vuzi, Ruby, that rhymed, TKAT, YVR, whatever, XNet. Lita says not offended if not good potential. Definitely. Well, I know that you were, and I just like to be very very perfect with my wording there, Lita. So yeah, I mean, for right now, XNet, this on top, this looks like the best one, even compared to the YVR and OCG. We have a pretty good list heading into our afternoon, folks. Scott saying the ZDGE trade moving up nicely. RJF getting back to YouTube, he writes, Long Island should be renamed Long Noisy Island. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I thought around here pretty quiet area, but man, I guess it's just my neighbors around the block there. ZDGE is pushing up nicely, though. I'd say the same with this as I said with TKAT. Trade it at your own risk, just based on the spread. I'd rather trade the others by far. Oh, that's funny. I'm actually going to copy and paste this comment, RJF, for one of our traders, Jeff, in our room, who calls me Josh with the dollar sign. He says, with that, it says, it makes you sound like an old school rapper from the 80s. I like that. I'm not going to change my name in the room. I don't think Fausto would be happy with that, but nonetheless, that's pretty funny. I like that there. All right, folks. So with that in mind, we have class coming up in just about 13 minutes from now at 3:05 Eastern time. So I look forward to it. It's our introduction to the ECN book, to level 3, to the order book, however you may name it. But, it's the start to that whole, kind of expedition. It's like a 3-part series coming up over the next 2 weeks. So I look forward to it. I hope to see most of us in our trading room there. If you're not going to be joining us going into class, best of luck trading going into the close. For all of us on social media, make sure first and foremost that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, that being youtube.com/cybertradingu. And then otherwise, make sure to join us if you haven't already live inside our trading room Monday to Friday. Go right down to the link on the banner below to sign up. All right, folks, I'll talk to you all in class coming up pretty shortly. Take care.